Yeah, that's new. We've been getting that for the last week.
Yeah. All right, I'm letting folks in. Hello, everybody. Look at all you fine folks popping up on the screen. It's just amazing. What a nice crowd. Hello, everybody. Hello, Roger Green, waving hands. Nice to see you. And Susan and Elaine and the Gibbs here. Gareth and Paul and Kim and Jane and connecting to audio, whoever that is. Lindsay and Nikki and Tony and Jackie and Rachel and Karen and look at everybody just hanging out in your abodes, looking all chill and relaxed. Hey, Jessica and Linda Bernard, and goodness gracious, what a fine-looking crowd. Hello, everybody. Welcome to, if you can believe it, my 10th All Request Zoom concert. Here, coming to you straight from the Honking Goose Studios here in Peekskill, New York. And so I got a lot of songs to sing for you. Hello, David's iPhone. Hey, Hannah. And Mr. Dawson and Adrian and Kate and Neil. And Andy and Kathy. And goodness, what a nice crowd. I suspect we have some newcomers to today's show. Maybe you heard the WFMU broadcast yesterday, which was fun to do. Just to remind folks who here, let me also admit some people. Is that what I tend to do is I'll mute everybody right before I play a song. But at the end of the song, you're encouraged to unmute yourselves. You have the power of unmuting. If you want to make noise or applaud or boo.
Hi, Dean.
That's it. Hello.
Hi.
Scotland. Hello from Scotland.
That's Karen Anderson from Scotland. Hello, folks.
Hi.
Hello. It's
Nice to see you.
Gang. Nice to see you all. How's life in Scotland? How's things going up there?
Very nice. Thank you.
I'm pleased to hear it.
We're sorry we're a couple of minutes late.
That's okay. We've barely started. I'm just babbling until I get my bearings.
We're just trying to get connected.
All right. Well, you're good. So I'm going to ask you to hold off and let me just make sure everything's there in place. And I'm going to admit some more people. And I guess I'll grab my guitar while I'm getting ready.
We're happy to do the admitting, Dean. We're on the door.
Oh, there they are. Everybody say hello to the Scottish falsetto sock puppet theater. Hello, Socks.
Hello, everybody. And I think we've just spotted Paul, who will be our other door technician for tonight. Hi, everybody.
All right, I will admit Paul and make him.
Done it.
Hello, folks. Bear with me a second. Still setting some up.
Open one. I can't believe I missed it.
Paul, if you're around and you can hear me, I'm going to make you a co-host just for kicks. So if you want to do an admission. All right. And again, for newbies, I want to make you aware, I want to remind you that if your mic is on and your camera is on, we can hear everything you say and we can see everything you do. You know, I was wondering how come so many people came to today's Zoom concert, and it occurred to me that this is for the first time that I said in my invitation that clothing was optional.
I'm sorry.
Apparently that got a lot of people excited.
First of all, we didn't dress up, so I apologize for that.
That's okay. All right. Well, you know what? I am gonna.
Clothing was optional.
All right, calm down up there in Scotland, and I'm going to mute everybody just as a test. And Where is my mute all button? There it is. Okay, everybody calm down. You're all about to be muted. Excellent. Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to just start singing some songs. Here is the list of all the requested songs and the numbers and the amounts of requests. And so anyway, I'm always surprised when I go through this list because I go to myself, I go, damn, I wrote a lot of songs. Anyway, doesn't mean I'm going to remember all the words to these songs, but I'm going to try. Also, so you folks know, you can always switch between your speaker view, where you'll just see what I see, and, oh, you like my new birthday shirt? And, or the gallery view, where you can then see all yourselves. And again, you're all looking in fine fettle. Is that actually an expression, fine fettle? Yeah, okay. You're looking in fine fettle. Okay, so I'm going back to this view. And I'm going to push this here like that. Maybe move it a little bit there. Can you guys hear the guitar okay?
Yep.
Okay. Well, here we go. Got a rich man's dream. Wanna swap my taxi on a limousine. Wanna cash it in. Wanna give it all away. Got a poor man's needs, beans in the bucket, and love in the sheets, and your sandy eyes, making it all alright. Something's calling on me. Don't know where I'm going, I don't know where I'm going, I got no place to be. Honey, keep me company. Woke peacefully in a town somehow in New Jersey in my mama's arms, rocking to the radio. And I sing myself to sleep. An apartment 4 in building G. Gotta lock the door, gotta hide the key. Oh baby, I'm free. I don't know where I'm going, I don't know where I'm going, I got no place to be. Honey, keep me company. Maybe one day I'll be a famous man with an LA tan, a million fans, and a catamaran floating movie stars. Maybe one day I'll be a bum in the gutter with a bottle in my hand and your sandy eyes, making it all alright. Making it all alright, making it
everyone.
Thank you. I always have to remind myself to give credit to Stuffy Schmidt, great songwriter who co-wrote the company with me. And in fact, he wrote all the lyrics. And he, after he had dinner up at my place in the Bronx, and I know I've told this story before, but I had just learned Blackbird by the Beatles by Paul McCartney. And I thought, well, as any songwriter starting out would do, how can I rip this off? And so I played it backwards. I played it upside down instead of going up. I started up on the top and then it went down. Anyway, I showed it to Stuffy and I said, I got this, this tune I'm working on and a little bit of a melody, and but I got no lyrics. Anyway, I met up with him like just over a week later, and he played company. He had written the lyrics to it, and but what was cool is that he wrote the words from my perspective. So all the references in company are to my life at the time. I was driving a taxi. I was living in Building G. I grew up in New Jersey. And anyway, so I sometimes forget that I didn't write the lyrics. So I got to remind myself. And and you should check out Stuffy's website. It's somewhere online. You can find Stuffy Schmidt. I'll maybe post it later, if I recall. Anyway, so let's see what else we got on the menu. Okay.
Dean, you sound amazing.
Why, thank you for saying so.
You do.
Well, you know what? And you guys all look very comfortable, and it's really good to see you. It sounds to me from news reports like things are gradually opening up. Is that the case, everybody over in your neck of the woods across the pond?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm glad to hear that. Because, I'm still pondering how, when, and if I'm going to be able to get on a plane and come visit you folks and do some gigs. It's looking more likely than it looked a month ago.
Good.
And,
Come over as soon as you can.
well, I'm working on it. I just got to make sure, A, they let me in the country, and B, they let me back in this country. So once all those issues are ironed out, I'll let everybody know. And then in the meantime...
Do you think you'll come to the Brunton again? In Musselburgh?
the matzah brunch? Yes, at that synagogue? Absolutely. For lox and bagels. All right, I'm going to mute you all again for another tune here, so bear with me.
Yeah, but do you not hear me?
No.
What just happened? Oops.
Oh, God.
We can along, Linda. Hi, Linda.
Okay, everything just... Here I am, I'm back. All right, let me exit full screen.
Isn't technology great?
Okay. Here we go. Again, bear in mind, if you're unmuted, which you were a moment ago, when you talk, everybody can hear you, and also your camera's image pops up on the main screen. So try to calm yourselves. I need to change these strings one of these days. Okay. So here we go. Well, as I've expressed many times before, it's always a little awkward for me in social gatherings, even before social distancing, when folks would ask what I do for a living, because if I do a lot of multimedia stuff. I mean, in addition to my songwriting and recording, it's always a tough question for me to answer. Like, well, what do you do for a living? And it always, I've never come up with a really snappy response that doesn't go, meandering off into a thousand directions. So it's something always awkward for me to respond to. Especially awkward when my wife asks me, Dean, what do you actually do for a living? And so for her benefit, I decided I had to come up with a good response, which I have tried to and believe I've done in this song, which I will now share for you. And it goes like this. Everybody wonders just what is it that I do. They scratch their heads and speculate, but they don't have a clue. And I may seem unemployed, that's not exactly true. I do some part-time work, but honey, my main job is loving you. It's my job to make you happy. It's my job to make you smile. It's my job to take you in my arms and hold you for a while. It's my job to make you feel good, and I'm never gonna stop. Well, it's my job to love you, honey, and I love my job. It works. Well, I met with my accountant to do my taxes like you do. When he asked my occupation, I filled in, loving you. Well, I'm suited to my vocation, just like good old Captain Kirk. And I never will retire, 'cause I'm addicted to my work. It's my job to make you happy. It's my job to make you smile. It's my job to take you in my arms and hold you for a while. It's my job to protect you from the littlest raindrop. Well, it's my job to love you, honey, and I love my job. Well, I never finished high school, but I found a fine career. The money's not that good, but honey, that's not why I'm here. 'Cause where else could I spend all my time whispering sweet nothings in your ear? And if I never get paid a penny, honey, I'll still volunteer. It's my job to make you happy. It's my job to make you smile. It's my job to take you in my arms and hold you for a while. It's my job to care about you, 'cause you make my heart throb. Well, it's my job to love you, honey, and I love my job. Well, the terms of my employment are quite favorable, it's true, with benefits and bonuses like spending time with you. And I never have to worry about things like job security. As long as I keep loving you, you'll keep loving me. It's my job to make you happy. It's my job to make you smile. It's my job to take you in my arms and hold you for a while. It's my job to make you feel good, and I'm never gonna stop. Well, it's my job to love you, honey, and I love my job. Yes, it's my job to love you, honey, and I love my job. Yes, it's my job to love you, honey, and I love my job.
Yes.
Ah. We're good.
Hello, Dean.
Hello, whoever that was.
It's Paul. Co-host this one.
Okay.
You need to speak.
We are not muted yet.
All right, you were about to be.
But co-host Paul at the door.
Okay. Do-ba-do-ba-do-da-da. I wrote the song, as I know you've heard me explain, when I first started going to City College in New York, and still living home in Paramus. I was 15 when I started. I missed a few grades, and so I had to commute every day by bus from New Jersey into Manhattan through the George Washington Bridge bus terminal. And there was a population of women who pretty much resided in the bus station. And they're very proud, very defiant. They didn't want anyone feeling sorry for them. It was one time I said hello, thinking I was giving a friendly greeting, and I just got cursed at. So anyway. The shopping bag ladies, they live in the terminal waiting room, patiently whiling their hours away, desperately keeping their demons at bay, making up lies about times that were good, extolling the virtues of motherhood, staunchly defending their sanity, clutching one last shred of vanity, fixing a kerchief she wears in her head, covered in posies and lilacs and blues and in red. Don't pity me, you beautiful bastard boy. I'll be just how I am. I'll be just how I am. Shopping bag ladies, it's not that well known, but they're really in vogue. Latest in the fashions, their taste is so true. Sweat socks and sneakers, a sweater or two. And safely behind the walls they have made, secure in their brown paper barricades, worldly possessions they'll not have to lose, lightweight emotional refuse. That's how they stay free. Don't pity me, beautiful bastard boy. I'll be just how I am. I'll be just how I am. Shopping bag ladies, it's hard to believe, but once they were children.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
Thank you, folks. Let me grab my ukulele there.
Oh, Dean, can you co-host Paul at the door?
I shall.
He's moved to another machine. Sorry, folks, we're just sharing some
It's all right. I'm working at it.
technical stuff for you. But just so that we can keep the show smooth running, there's a pair of socks and a friend in Queens.
Okay, hold on.
I should have floated close to the top.
Yeah, well, okay, hold on. All right, now I can't find it. Hold on.
Yeah.
Pull out the door. Bear with me a second. And the internet's going a little slow.
Oops.
And I knew this would happen.
Well, don't worry. While you're doing
No,
that,
I'm
Dean,
almost there. I'm almost there. Hold on.
Okay, hey, I just have to say that a little earlier you thought somebody was discussing matzo balls and they were discussing Musselburgh, which is near Edinburgh.
Oh,
Correct.
Musselburgh has never been confused for any
Matzo ball.
kosher
I can-
dishes before today.
that's great. That's great. So, a million Musselburghs.
You need to
That's what we need.
Thank you for that, Socks.
That's
Yes,
funny.
that seems very appropriate.
Brilliant.
A million Musselburghs. Okay. Okay, here.
There we are. I'm at the top. I'm still not hosting.
All right. Well, so the temperatures are rising, and there are comets hurtling in our general direction, and ice caps are melting, and all that stuff is going on. And worse than that, cows all over the world are farting, adding methane to the atmosphere. So just to say, the world is in a terrible pickle, and here's a cock-a-doodle-doo. The ice caps are melting, the temperature's sweltering. What are all the penguins and the polar bears gonna do? They say the sky is really falling, way up high above the poles. So say a little prayer for the ozone layer. Better grab your sunscreen, cause it's all full of holes. And what about the alligators lounging in their lagoons? Tell them you hope you'll see them later, after they're washed away to sea in a monsoon. The world is in a terrible pickle. There's something that you ought to know. It's more than theorizing, the oceans are rising, and something is suspicious with the fishes below. Instead of fighting and acting all crazy, we ought to try and get along. We can all shout out Yahoo and dance a boogaloo, and try to make a world where everybody belongs. And what about the cute koalas in their eucalyptus tree? You can bet your bottom dollars they'll soon be feeling melancholy. The world is in a terrible pickle. Don't say I didn't tell you so. If we don't do what we oughta, we'll soon be in hot water. Tell the president and Congress to ratify Kyoto. You know, some songs go in and out of fashion. Unfortunately, that song is going to remain relevant for the next 100 years.
True. Very true.
So let's see here. Well, this was another song that got a number of requests, and excuse me 1 second. I think it's off of Submarine Races, but I can't remember now.
There you are.
Let me mute you all real quick. Heard you feeling under the weather. Really hope you're feeling much better soon. Wasn't even sure as to whether ought to even bother you with a silly tune. Then I thought, hey, it doesn't matter. Either way, it'll make you feel glad, or else you'll find it so annoying. It'll help to distract you from your troubles. And all I wanna say is that we hope and pray you're gonna be okay. Just another one of life's little traumas. Gee, you look good in those pajamas. Even though I know it's not exactly what you had in mind when you said you wanted to break from the daily grind. And so I know it could have been a whole lot worse. Then I would have had to come up with a whole other verse. And by the way, I think I'm in love with your nurse. She seems like a caring person. So listen. All I wanna say is that we hope and pray you're gonna be okay. Anyway, you seem a little tired. Better try and get some rest as required. If there's anything you need, just say the word, no matter how ridiculous or absurd. Then enough of this chit chat. I guess it's time for me to go. Don't worry, I'll look after your damn cat, and I'll be back tomorrow. And all I wanna say is that we hope and pray you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay.
Hey!
Hey,
Love that
we
song.
love you.
Thank you, guys. I'm gonna mute you again. Oh, gotta turn it on. I bet you're all really impressed by the smooth transitions in this Zoom production. Curiously, I sang this last month, but it got a lot more requests today, and so it's not exactly summer yet, but it's getting there. Me and Mike hopped on our bikes with baseball cards flapping to the wheels. We drove to the top of Farview Heights and coasted to the bottom, and you know how that feels. With Slim Jims in our pockets and cattails in our hands, we both took off exploring the vast uncharted lands. Where did they go, those summer days? I miss them so, those summer days. I'd like to know those slow and easy ways, those warm and breezy lazy head over to the woods, running up and down the trees like a couple of squirrels. And just for a lark, we'd head over to the park and tear around the playground where we'd chase the little girls. And we'd take away their jump rope and they'd giggle and they'd shriek, and we wouldn't give it back until they gave us both a peek. Where did they go, those summer days? I miss them so, those summer days. I'd like to know those slow and easy ways, those warm and breezy, lazy summer days. Now I'm all grown up, I'm no longer just a pup. I got a 10-speed in the basement I haven't seen in years. And Mike moved west and I've got his new address, and it's somewhere in my files if it hasn't disappeared. And everything's okay and I really can't complain, but now and then I wonder how come life's just not the same. Where did they go, those summer days? I miss them so, those summer days. I'd like to know those slow and easy ways, those warm and breezy, lazy summer days.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Yay.
Let's see here. Here's something off of the very first album. If I've managed to learn anything at all from what we've done, is that even though it fills the cracks and crevices, man's the tattered soul, still will reach the other's nemesis, and two halves do not always make a whole. Though you know we've often heard it said, we're made of sterner stuff. Love is not enough. Love is not enough. And all the things I left unsaid, assuming that you knew, as if there were no question, but that you could read my mind. And all the times I shut you out and left you hanging, me deaf, dumb, and blind. Though I know we vowed to stick it out through the easy and the rough, love is not enough. Love is not enough. And all the stupid games we played to save our tarnished pride, as if it really mattered which of us was wrong or right. And even as we stood and watched it fall apart, I loved you with all my might. Though the heroes in the paperbacks always wind up in the buff, not enough. Love is not enough. cue. Let's see here.
Yeah. No sound.
Okay, just muted you once again. Okay, well, I'm playing another tune here, and then I'm going to scooch back over there for a little bit. All right, once again, this is off a song of Rumple Romeo, and it's being sung by a teenage boy who's just smitten with a girl behind a counter, as opposed to, me, who just turned 66. I am in love with a McDonald's girl. She has a smile of innocence, so tender and warm. I am in love with a McDonald's girl. She is an angel in a polyester uniform. I leave from softball practice every night. It's getting dark, but the golden arches light up the way. Turn the corner at the traffic light. I count my money and then I rehearse what I'm gonna say. I'd like an order of fries, quarter pounder with cheese. I love the light in your eyes. Will you go out with me, please? I am in love with a McDonald's girl. She has a smile of innocence, so tender and warm. I am in love with a McDonald's girl. She's an angel in a polyester uniform. She is an angel in a polyester uniform. She doesn't try to impress anyone. She doesn't act real tough like all the other girls that I know. She don't treat me like a simpleton. She's not afraid to be the only other virgin I know. When my hamburger's cold, I get up ready to go. She's only 15 years old and I'm in love with her so. I'm in love with a McDonald's girl. She has a smile of innocence, so tender and warm. I am in love with a McDonald's girl. She's an angel in a polyester uniform. She's an angel in a polyester uniform. There she stands behind the register, taking orders from the Saddle River Little League. If they knew how much I wanted her, their homeroom teacher would have to send them home for a week. And as I head for the door, the woman catches her eye. My heart begins to soar. She smiles and waves goodbye. I am in love with a McDonald's girl. She has a smile of innocence, so tender and warm. I am in love with a McDonald's girl. She is an angel in a polyester uniform. She is an angel in a polyester uniform. She is an angel in a polyester uniform.
Yes! Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Lovely.
Let's see here. So, here, let me strap on. Everybody out there is still hunky dory?
Hunky hunky.
Hunky dory. Hunky. Glad to hear it.
Dean, you look great, especially for your age.
Oh, for my age. Thank you.
There's a
Thank you.
compliment.
Well, you're looking good for any age.
Sounds good, Dean.
Let's see here. Oh, Socks.
Hello.
Let me ask Socks. What's new with you, Socks? How's life treating you
Life is
your
treating
neck of
us
the woods?
well. We are preparing to actually perform in real life in person. We're going to be going on stage a couple of weeks' time in Bath.
No
anybody
kidding. That's so
knows
cool.
where that is. And we'll be doing, in the next month, we've got to Lichfield, we go up to Derby, we go up to Sheffield, we go to Bristol, we're going to lots and lots of places, unless, of course, everything goes tits up and they all get cancelled. So, fingers crossed. Are the socks coming to London? Someone has just asked. At the moment, we don't have London immediately lined up, but it's in our sights.
And how can folks find out where to get tickets for your actual real world live shows?
Well, interestingly, also in the last month, we finally got round to buying the website, ScottishFalsettoSocks.com. So if you go to ScottishFalsettoSocks.com, there's no gig guide. There is actually no gig guide because we didn't get as far as doing that. But you'll find us on Twitter, you'll find us on Facebook, and we will be telling everybody where all of our gigs are, and so you can all come and miss those.
Okay.
Hey.
I'm pleased to hear it. All right, so folks, do check out where the Sox are playing. And you're still doing your Zoom concerts, though, right?
Yeah, we haven't got the next one lined up because genuinely we are busy on all of the weekends of the next month doing, hopefully, live concerts.
Well, I am delighted to hear it. Now I'm going to mute everybody again, and let's see here.
Me?
Was that a question? Someone had a question there, son?
Do the socks need...
Oops, sorry, I just muted you, Socks. Humble apologies.
We have just unmuted ourselves. Somebody asked if we needed a large venue. No, we are very, very small. We're very cozy. And currently, we're doing this in your own front room, and we're distracting from Dean, who you've paid to see. So, Dean.
Well, actually, Socks, I reached out to you because I was hoping you'd join me on another song. Because last month we did a song from Boone, from the TV series Boone that I did music for many years, and it got a really nice reaction. And I was hoping to another song from Boone, and hoping that you, the Socks, could join me. And everyone's invited to sing along from home, but I'm not going to unmute you. But feel free to sing. And follow along with the Socks. It's a call and response, and so it's pretty simple. I'll sing something, and the Socks will respond, and keep your eyes on the Socks too, because they're Socks.
Because we should have some props down here, but if you saw us using props last month, you'll realize that's a movable feast.
Yes. All right, so here we go. And this is from Boone. And as long as this world...
That's the world.
That's right, the world. That's the world. Oh, that's pretty funny. That's a good world. Keep spinning round.
It's spinning round.
As long as bats...
That's a bat. Apparently that's a bat.
Okay. Hang upside down.
It's definitely upside down.
As long as people still write with pens.
That's a pen.
That's how long we'll still be friends.
We'll still be friends.
And everyone can sing along together with this part. We'll be friends, we'll be friends, we'll be
friends through the years. Just like Starsky and Hutch. Look at us.
Or the Three Musketeers.
Three Musketeers.
We'll be comrades in arms through the tears and the beers.
Boo-hoo, burp.
And when the whole story ends, buddy, we'll still be friends. As long as two.
As long as two.
Comes before three.
You came first.
As long as honey.
Bzzz. Is that the sound of honey? That's the sound of honey.
Comes from the bees.
I see my mistake.
As long as roosters chase after hens.
I'm here, baby.
That's how long we'll still be friends.
We'll be friends.
Everybody sing along in your homes. or caravans. We'll be friends, we'll be friends, we'll be
We'll be
friends,
friends
through the years. Just like Starsky and Hutch.
I'm Starsky.
He's Hutch. Or the Three Musketeers. We'll
One
be
for all.
comrades at arms. Through the tears and the beers. And when the whole story ends, buddy, we'll still be friends. As long as fish
Glug, 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 glug.
swim in the sea.
Glug, 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 still swimming.
As long as women
Hello, I'm a lady.
still puzzle me.
Your starter for 10.
As long as a dime
A dime.
is worth 10 cents.
I got nothing.
That's how long we'll still be friends.
I've lost my dress.
We'll be friends, we'll be friends, we'll
We'll
be
be
friends,
friends through the years.
Just like Starsky and Hutch.
I'm Starsky, I'm Hutch.
Or the Three Musketeers.
Porthos, Aramis, D'Artagnan.
That's
four.
Were there any other Musketeers?
There probably were.
Okay.
Dennis.
Dennis. We'll be comrades at arms through the tears and the beers.
Boo-hoo.
And when the whole story ends, buddy, we'll still
be friends.
That's right. As long as that was the last verse.
There was no more verses in our
There's
version.
no more verse. All right, one last chorus. We'll be friends,
Friends,
we'll be friends,
friends,
we'll be friends,
friends
through the years. Just like
years.
Starsky and Hutch, or
That's
the
me.
Three Musketeers. We'll
Us.
be comrades at arms, or at feet. Through the tears and the beers. And when the whole story ends, buddy, we'll still be
friends.
When the whole story ends, buddy,
We'll still be friends.
thank you, Socks. Well done.
My favorite.
Yeah, me too. Oh, brilliant.
That was amazing.
Okay. Let's see where we are now. Oh, I got something very cool to show you, everybody. Can you guess what this is?
New CD.
That's correct.
Ancient history.
This is, it's all done. I finally finished the new album, American Lullaby. And whoo! Really, the whole time I've been doing, and I've been working on this for, I guess, about 8 months. I'm really pleased with the results. And I hope you folks enjoy it. And I have to say it was really a little nerve-wracking because, this all happens right here in this studio with all these electrons zooming through microprocessors and A to D converters and microphones and all this technology. And it all winds up just in digits on a hard drive or on a CD. And the whole time this was happening, I was thinking, oh my goodness, what happens if North Korea sets off a giant electromagnetic pulse off North America, wipes out all the microprocessors and all the digital media and content, and 8 months of work will have disappeared. Not to mention, cataclysmic disaster in general in terms of society. Fortunately, none of that happened. And so it's all here. So I'm real excited and pleased about it. There's still a lot of work. I know many of you folks, good folks here, helped make this happen. Because as you know, I've been crowdfunding my album since the Treehouse Journals in 2001. So again, my my sincere thanks to everybody that helped make this possible. If you have not pre-ordered this CD, now would be a good time to do so, because I still have to. I have to do all the artwork and the whatchamacallit, the booklet, and then I have to do all the metadata and enter it and post it, and it's going to take me another probably month to get all that stuff done. It'll probably be, now these days, it could be 8 to 10 weeks before I have actual CDs manufactured. But now that it's done, I can do all that stuff. And in fact, I might be able to show you the album cover if I can share. Let's see here if I can do this. Share screen. I didn't plan this in advance, but let's see if this works. Can you folks see that?
Oh, yes.
Yep.
So actually, I adopted this album cover from an existing painting by a painter named Frederick Church. He was a member of the Hudson River School, where they painted landscapes up and down the Hudson River. And when they first started shipping their paintings to Europe, people in Europe didn't believe how beautiful the landscape was, because the colors, especially in autumn, were so rich and vibrant and deep reds, oranges, and yellows, and browns, and so they thought they were making up these colors until they finally got here and realized how beautiful it is in the Hudson Valley. Now, the original painting actually is very different than what you're looking at here. I did a lot of work on it, and there was actually not this ship in the original painting, or these stars. That's the Big Dipper, by the way, which is referred to roundabout in American Lullaby, the title track, by the drinking gourd, because when slaves were escaping from the South into the free states, they were told to use the constellation as a guide. They would follow the drinking gourd, or what we call the Big Dipper. And anyway, so let me see if I can get the zoom back, because I'm going to stop sharing for now. And a lot of excellent musicians remotely contributed their talents to this. And so I'm grateful to everybody that participated and helped out. And I hope you folks get a chance to listen to it really, really soon, once everything is in place and there. And again, if you haven't pre-ordered it, you have still a chance to pre-order it. Just go to my website, and it says Dean's Next Album on the top middle of my website, and you can pre-order it there. And let me get this back up, and the participants list back up. And I'm going to go here to the keyboard and play a couple of songs, which I've already played for you and shared with you. But you've asked in this all request show, which I'm really pleased about. And let's see here. There we go. So I'm going to mute you once again and make my way to the keyboard. Oh, giant mic is in my hand. Okay, Sarah. Oh. I know everyone shares the sentiment as this excruciating pandemic has unfolded, with the light at the end of the tunnel slowly brightening, and the prospect that this will be behind us, even though it's not yet. And still plenty of places on this planet that are suffering the worst aspects of it. But it does seem like things are opening up a little bit. And this is a song in the thick of it that expressed those kinds of longings. To get back, not to the world we used to have, but hopefully an even better world, or at the very least a halfway normal world. Let me start that again. Just wanna go to the movies, meet up with a bunch of my friends, buy a box of Skittles, find some good seats in the middle, and watch the credits roll to the end. Maybe stop at the diner, a burger with some fries and a Coke, some pie for dessert, couldn't hurt, the service so slow it's a joke. Drop some change in the jukebox, the Beach Boys, California girls. I wish I could get back to a halfway normal world. Take me out to the ball game, doesn't seem like too much to ask. A diamond oasis, players running the bases, the catcher is wearing a mask. We'll all root for the home team. We'll fill up on peanuts and beer. We'll yell at the umpire and tell him to retire, and think of folks who couldn't be here. We'll all root for the home team. On the mound, the pitcher, a southpaw, his curveball will be hurled. I wish I could get back to a halfway normal world. I wish we could get back to a halfway normal world. Gonna throw a big party, invite everybody I know. We'll kibitz and mingle, I'll serve pretzels and Pringles. We'll sit side by side and toe to toe. We'll lose ourselves in deep conversation. We'll play lots of silly games. We'll laugh and we'll smile, and then after a while, we'll barely remember our names. We'll all wind up in the kitchen, at the counter, with a tablecloth unfurled. I wish I could get back to a halfway normal world. I wish we could get back to a halfway normal world.
Fabulous.
Thank you. I'm real eager for you to hear the recording of these songs, because I'm really pleased with how they turned out. Especially this one, which was one of the most requested songs on today's Zoom, which I'm also real delighted about. And this is the title track. And for any newcomers who haven't heard me sort of introduce this before, it's called American Lullaby. And it's like all lullabies, it's filled with scary things. That parents try to teach their kids, but in a soothing way. When the wind blows, the cradle will fall, and all the terrible disasters that are hidden in most lullabies around the world, to try and prepare kids for the inevitable threats they'll face growing up. But again, in a soothing, comforting way, to not scare the hell out of them as they're drifting off to sleep, but to prepare them and to give them some crucial information. So this song is like that. In fact, the whole album is pretty much a chronicle of the last 6 years and all the crazy shit that's happened. But to put what's been happening now in perspective, I thought it made sense to go back 400 years when this country, our version of it, before we decimated the indigenous population, began. And so it talks about our original sins, that as well as slavery and the same kinds of crimes that are going on today, along with our inexplicable love affair with guns. But in any case, as with any lullaby, it's meant to touch on some of these hard truths, but in a soothing, comforting way. Don't you fret now, don't you cry. It's an American lullaby. Manifest destiny's alive. It's an American lullaby. Half moon sailing through the night. Crack of a musket fired, first light. Always keep your powder dry. It's an American lullaby. Rest your head and dreams you'll fly. It's an American lullaby. Blaze a trail across the sky. It's an American lullaby. The drinking gourd will point the way. Stealth by night and sleep by day. Peg-leg Joe, you can rely. It's an American lullaby. clench your fist and dry your eye. It's an American lullaby. Judgment served from up on high. It's an American lullaby. One fine night in paradise, the god of thunder rolls the dice. 1,000 rounds light up the sky. It's an American lullaby. In restless dreams you shall defy, or TV pundits prophesy. Best laid plans have gone awry. It's an American lullaby. He said, I cannot tell a lie. Cross my heart and hope to die. Still won't look you in the eye. It's an American lullaby. Close your eyes now, sleep is nigh. It's an American lullaby. Cross the shallows, do or die. It's an American lullaby. Headlights shining in the dark. Coyotes howl, the bloodhounds bark. Hear the angels sigh. It's an American lullaby. Human kindness in short supply. It's an American lullaby.
Wow. Wow.
Beautiful.
Wow. Woo.
Thank you.
Wow.
There's a lot more cool tunes on the record, and like I say, I'm going to race to get it out as quickly as I can so you folks can hear it. But it's not too late to pre-order it right now. Let's see here. Well, I got time still to play a few of the tunes that were high on this request list. And I think I should be able to remember some of these. And this is...
Oh.
Here we go. Yes, with all this talk about brotherly love, especially, I'm not sure this is the best segue after the last tune, but what the heck. It'll be definitely a change of pace. Yes, this is my ode to good neighborliness, because obviously all the trouble in the world is, the nations can't get along with each other. How to expect, or people, if you can't get along, I just messed up the total intro, but I think you get the idea. All right, I'm just remembering the key. Here it is. Death to the neighbors, they don't deserve to live. This slimy, rotten mother bleeps, you can choose your expletive. Death to the neighbors, I hope they up and die. They all expire in a fire. You won't see me cry. The kids are dirty, snot-nosed brats and spoiled through and through. I'm pretty sure they drown. Our cat is just the kind of thing they do. They're evil and obnoxious. They're rotten to the core. The 3-year-old stuck his tongue at me. Buddy, this means war. Death to the neighbors and their nasty little pup. He's always pooping on our lawn. They never pick it up. Death to the neighbors. They really gotta go. Blasting country music out their window on their stereo. The husband is drunkard, abusive, mean, and vile. He doesn't work. He's such a jerk. I'm sure he is a pedophile. I tell you what, his wife's a slut and ugly one to boot. My idea of torture is to see her in a bathing suit. Death to the neighbors. They'll never coexist. They have no morals. They're probably terrorists. Death to the neighbors. Just a bunch of thugs. They always act suspicious. They're probably dealing drugs. They probably worship Satan, that evil prince of doom. Sacrificing virgins on an altar in the dining room. I know their hearts are evil. They are the devil's spawn. I speak the truth and here's the proof. Their leaves keep blowing on my lawn. Death to the neighbors. They live lives of sacrilege. They never clean their gutters. They never trim their heads. Death to the neighbors. There's no room for compromise. There's something less than human. You can see it in their eyes. The bastard's got it coming. He'll get his just desserts. He sprained his ankle running. I hope it really hurts. I hope he dies of cancer or has a heart attack. He borrowed a cup of sugar once and never gave it back. Death to the neighbors. There's nothing to discuss. They crossed the line this one last time. It's either them or us. Death to the neighbors. It can't come soon enough. No ifs, ands, or buts. I hate their guts. I cannot lie. I hope they die. Their time will come. Those miserable scum. Death to the neighbors. Okay. Just gonna try to mute you folks if I can. All right. Just remember, if you're not muted, we can hear everybody and it interrupts the flow. So I muted you all again. So, here's a tune, I think. It always gets a lot of requests. Leah keeps my toothbrush in her apartment, and she never complains. Well, hardly ever. And then jokingly she says, boy, it's been so long since I've held you. Jokingly she said, I nearly gave you up for dead. Lydia, Lydia, come you understand? I can offer you nothing at all. This is more than I had planned. Lady, I'm at your command, at least until morning comes. And then I must be off again. I must be off again. Did you know I was talking about conscious decisions, about running my own life? Maybe I'm just fooling myself. It's a role I like to play. 'Cause more often than not I'm down here on the corner. I'm sorry I woke you. Do you feel like some company? Babe, I need a place to stay. Lady, how come you understand? I can offer you nothing at all. This is more than I had planned. Lady, I'm at your command, at least until morning comes. And then I must be off again. I must be off again. Asleep with a woman who thinks I'm a child. Maybe I am. No, that wouldn't surprise anyone. I suspect that much is true. Oh, but lady, if you only knew just how much I love you. Did you know that I love you? It's the best that I can do. Lady, how come you understand? I can offer you nothing at all. This is more than I had planned. Lady, I'm at your command, at least until morning comes. And then I must be off again. I must be off again.
Wow!
That was wonderful.
Wow!
Thank you. And I'll do another one off of that same album. Well, said the rocking chair. It's been a while since I've seen such stark despair. Who told you life was fair? Whoa, said the radio. Said there's some things you ought to know. There's little you can do to stop the pain, and it's gonna happen time and time again. So just remember, even though it sounds insane, it's impossible to ever love somebody in vain. Alright, it's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. No, said the balcony. If it's pity you want, don't come to me. Nothing comes for free. Yes, said the coffee cup. Maybe now is the time to act grown up. up your nearest kin, or kin. If you open up and let them in, you'll discover that you probably make it through once again. Alright, it's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. Hey, hey, said the tabletop. Don't be making like you're anything you're not. Make do with what you got. Don't forget, said the cuckoo clock. Any parts you need, we've got in stock. Take a look at the place you call your home. You're reflected in all the things you own, and the seeds of reason you have sown. They're a measure of a part of you that's already grown. Alright, it's gonna be alright. 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 Alright.
Brilliant.
I think, well, it's getting to be about that time, but I think I'm going to squeeze in one other song.
Groovy.
Gonna find me a cave, gonna shut myself in and not come out again. Gonna stay there till I rot in my grave. When someone comes and knocking, I just won't let them in. Time to tell me that you're on your way. Now that I'm out of my mind, tell me how the hell I'm ever gonna make it through another day. Baby, there's just no way. I'm gonna rob me a bank, gonna get myself arrested and go to jail. I'll spend the rest of my life in a tank. If someone tries to help me, I'll refuse the bail. Oh, a woman of mine, you picked a mighty fine time to tell me that you're on your way. Now that I'm out of my mind, tell me how the hell I'm ever gonna make it through another day. Baby, there's just no way. I'm gonna go in my room, turn off all the lights and crawl in bed like a caterpillar in a cocoon. Gonna hold my breath and make believe I'm dead. Oh, a woman of mine, picked a mighty fine time to tell me that you're on your way. Now that I'm out of my mind, tell me how the hell I'm ever gonna make it through another day. Baby, there's just no way.
Yeehaw! Woohoo!
All right, well, gee. Folks, I'm inarticulate and speechless. It's a real pleasure to have all you folks join me and be able to share my songs
We
with
love
you.
you.
Right here in my basement in the Honking Goose Studios. And so thank you all for coming. I am gonna take a short break, catch my breath. But if anyone wants to hang around, just for a chat afterwards, just to stay online, put your Zoom on gallery view, and you can chat amongst yourselves. And you can ask the socks any questions that you ever wanted to ask a sock. And I'll be back in just a little bit. And for those of you that are not going to hang around and are signing off, again, thanks for stopping by and sharing your Sunday. And everybody be well and take care. And I'm definitely going to see you next month, the last Sunday of July, whatever that is. I haven't figured that out yet.
Would that be the last Sunday of June, Dean?
Oh, June. Yes, the last Sunday of June. Yeah, I already am a month ahead. Thank you, socks. The indispensable socks. You can't go anywhere without a good pair of socks. So I'm going to sign off just for a few minutes, and you guys, if you want to stick around, and I'll see you in a little bit. And otherwise, everybody be well. Thank you again.
Thank
and
you
see
for
you
making
really
us
soon.
happy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Oh, that was just lovely.
Da-da-dee-da-da.
There you go. Let the cacophony commence.
Blah, blah, blah.
As always, if you want to join in with the chat, unmute. If you don't want to join in with the chat, but you're just going off to the toilet, do mute yourself. Otherwise, we might just be listening to your flushing in the background. Also, if anybody wants to be the person who everybody sees at the top of the chat, you can use the putting your hands up symbol, which we've discovered is really good, because then you pop up to the top of the screen and then everybody knows it's you who's talking. Anyway, where are we all from in the world? Who's from the UK? Give us a shout.
Yeah.
And who's over in the States? Give us a shout from the States.
I'm currently living in Jersey.
Living in Jersey. Obviously, that's New Jersey, not the one just off the coast of the UK.
The new one.
The new one, yeah. Not that new. I know, we've seen Scranton. It's weathered, at the very least.
I'm in New York. Pennsylvania.
Is Scranton in Pennsylvania? I thought Scranton was New Jersey. But whatever.
Camden is in New Jersey.
Trenton is in New Jersey.
Trenton and Camden.
Trenton is, of course, the capital of New Jersey, as any fool knows.
Hello, socks.
Hello there. So, who's somewhere more exotic than Trenton, New Jersey?
I'm from Anisabol in Wales.
Oh, fantastic. How do you spell that?
It's YNYEWL. Anisabol.
Not a single vowel wasted on the name of that place. That's granting. So we've got Wales. We've got New Jersey.
New Jersey.
And France.
France. Who's in France?
We're in France.
Oh, splendid. Who? Put your hand up if you use the hand up symbol, which you'll see the reactions at the foot of your screen. Most people should have that option. If you use that symbol, you'll pop up to the top of everybody's screen if they're on gallery view, and then we'll know it's you that's talking. Who is in France?
Me, but I don't know where the hands up signal is.
Okay, well that was the face that lit up was John Hudson. Is that right?
Yes, but he's gone to get tea.
So whereabouts in France are you with the Hudsons?
We're in the Charente.
Oh, that'll be a wine region. I'm sure the aficionados will know what that is. I can see Paul Ramsell's got a glass of something special there. He probably knows all his vintages. So that's nice. And of course, you're the Hudsons, and Dean is by the Hudson, and that takes us right back to Peekskill. Where else are we from? Come on, we're traveling the globe. We've been to Peekskill, we've been to Trenton or Camden, or I thought you were in Queens, but you're clearly not. We've been to the, I heard Hirondale, but I probably heard it wrong. Where else are we? Someone, there's got to be somewhere even more exotic.
California.
California. What time of day is it in California?
Long Beach. Long Beach, California.
Long Beach is the time of day in California. Okay.
It is
It's
1:37.
It's always a Long Beach time of day when you're in Long Beach, California.
1:37.
1:37. Fantastic. Oh, great.
50 years ago, I lived in Long Beach on Long Island.
No.
Cool.
Wow.
I'm sure we're all conjuring up exotic images from movies now. We all think it's an idyllic lifestyle. Go on, disillusion us. How idyllic is it not in Long Beach?
Well, isn't that where Compton is?
Compton,
Pretty
is
close.
it? Compton,
Close.
is it?
It's close. Okay.
Has anybody been watching the TV drama, which is on Amazon Prime in our country, called Them? Set in the 1950s when people moved to Compton and then got chased out by the locals who didn't take to them. Nobody's seen
I've heard
that?
it's pretty brutal to watch.
It's quite brutal and actually probably loses the plot about halfway through the series, but parts of it are excellent.
Shoulda Cold Soul.
Should have
Hey,
called
Socks.
Saul. Hey,
Are we
Dean.
actually going to talk about that? Because it's a hard topic to talk about, things that we don't talk about. I'm like reading stories in my local newspaper because it's like 100 years since about the Tulsa Race Massacre, which I had never heard of until the HBO Watchmen miniseries. And then I did a lot of studying, and it was like I would cry at everything I'd read.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this is very much the subject matter of American Lullaby, isn't it?
Pretty much all of our hidden sins.
And look, New York had its own slavery and its own, race massacres as well.
Yep.
So it's all part of our history and our lives. No escaping or denying it.
Well,
even though a certain party is intent on trying to deny it.
It is so ironic that people would flee Europe to escape persecution, only to persecute the people that were here and the people that they dragged along.
Yeah. Excellent. Well said.
Yeah.
It's a puzzle. And my only hope is that a younger generation with less ingrained prejudice has the hope of treating the world with a little more empathy.
Where were you in the 60s?
Where was I in the 60s?
The same thing, when we believed the same thing, that the younger generation would come along and do it better.
We still
I have always been a hippie at heart, even though I was too young to actually be a hippie.
And you're older than I am, and I was too young.
The
to be
hippie ethos is something that made perfect sense to me. Oh yeah, especially the free love part. No, but the idea of trying to walk a little bit in someone else's shoes, to have that kind of empathy, and that same old golden rule. Meanwhile, I'm just curious, anyone still here that stuck around, that's here for the first time, that this is your first Zoom, just out of curiosity?
Yeah.
That's so cool. Excellent.
We feel good. And now we're with you as well.
I'm pleased that you could join me. Just for marketing purposes, for my research, for future reference, what was it that finally persuaded you to dare and take the chance of being part of a precarious Zoom concert? Just wondering.
Alcohol.
All right. There you go. Excellent response. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that last bit.
And good taste in music.
Ah, that's excellent. That's appreciated.
Dean, we join in the Zoom concert so we can see your lovely face every month.
Oh, that's very sweet of you. Well,
We saw you with Boothby.
oh, well, Boothby's great. And I'm looking forward to finally getting back on the road because I'm doing on the books. We got some gigs together where Boothby's gonna join me at some of these concerts. And in fact, I think the first one potentially would be Glasgow. And I just got to figure out in the next couple of weeks whether it's going to be possible for me to do it. And
We're still in lockdown.
You're still in lockdown, right?
Yeah.
And any projections as to whether or when, or it's just up in the air?
No, a couple of weeks before they find out whether they can reduce the level of lockdown.
Right. Okay.
Our stupid
I know
Prime
some venues
Minister
are
is-
starting to do live events, as the Sox explained earlier. I'm sorry. What were you saying? Who I just cut off?
Our stupid Prime Minister had let the Indian variants in, so now the unlocking it on the 21st of June is in doubt.
Wow.
And what were your thoughts, Thomas Price?
Well, we're back to normal here. Audrey and I are going to plays. We're going to movies. Long Beach, California got their shit together, and we are 70% vaccinated.
Excellent. Oh, that's very cool.
Very good.
Well, really pleased to see you here, man. It's good to see you. Well, that's good to know. Well, yeah, my daughter Hannah is out there on the West Coast, and she might even be somewhere here in the audience, but I'm not sure. Yeah, it's a puzzle, but yeah, there is, like I said, some positive signs, which is nice to see, but it's still very bewildering and complex to plan a national tour under very ongoing precarious circumstances. But I will try to keep you posted and let you know what's happening and when.
Dean, is there still a concert scheduled in London in September?
It's still on the books and it's still for sale. And I really genuinely hope to be able to get there. And again, it's just, will they let me in the country? Will they let me back into the United States? Those are two important criteria. Because, the reality is, on these circumstances, the profit margin for my tours are very modest. And if I have to be in quarantine anywhere for 14 days, that blows the tour. But we'll see. I remain optimistic. Although I gotta say, there's nothing quite like rolling out of bed, clambering down the steps to this studio, turning on the camera and lights, and doing a gig right here in my own basement. Yay. That's sort of convenient. And I know it seems odd, but in some ways, I've always found this
Navy SEAL
to be not exactly, but in a strange way, more intimate than a regular concert, where even though I can see people's faces like in the front few rows, here I can see right into your living rooms. It's kind of like you invited me over for tea, and there's that orange cat there, Streetings. He looks very happy. I just flipped the gallery page. And yeah, there's a strange intimacy to this that I suspect you also sense that you don't find normally in a gig, even if there's like a rush at the merch table at the end of the show as I'm saying goodbye. I don't really get to chat with folks like this, which is kind of cool, and I don't have to drive for a couple hours to the next gig, which is handy as well. Oh, hey, Ann Layton, nice to see you there. I just noticed you there. I like your cap. Excellent.
This is Artie, and he likes to sit on the computer. And I think the reason that this is my first time seeing you live on Zoom is because I spend half my day promoting online.
Of course.
So I get.
Anne's a great NDPR person here in Westchester, and so she helps get the word out. And so it's nice to see you, and your gray cat. Artie, did you say?
Yes, Artie.
Yeah, it's nice to see you and Artie. Yes.
I was, to answer your marketing thing, I was happy to get the email invitation from you following our little conversations we had. But I wouldn't have known anything about this otherwise. So this is fantastic.
Now, was it from my email personally, or was it through the Eventbrite ticket agency? Do you recall?
I think it was through yours because I had that little bit of dialogue with you about the art project.
Right. Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you wound up here. And any other exciting or boring questions, or just curious questions that you just never get to ask?
Do you have any plans on starting your next album?
The next album.
Oh, give me a break.
I just think 3 or 4 years is a long time to wait between albums.
Well, Tom, I gotta say,
take that as a compliment, though.
I appreciate that. I really do. Here's the thing that I struggle with, is that to pull the trigger, so to speak, on me committing to doing a new album is a huge emotional leap, because it's a really big job, and especially under these modest circumstances where it's like I don't have an engineer or a producer or a regulator, like helping out with logistics and getting musicians and getting the studio ready and setting up mics, and it's pretty much a one-man operation, which in some respects I like, because I get to pay careful attention to every detail, which I can be a little obsessive about. Although I always enjoy and am delighted and welcome the contribution of other musicians, and there were a lot of remote contributions from vocalists, and I mentioned Kevin Fox played a cello part on American Lullaby on the track, which I really love. A local musician named Marvin Stam plays a beautiful flugelhorn part on the very last track, which is a new track. I think I've only played it once, and I can't remember when. Called On a Summer's Night. And he just plays this beautiful flugelhorn solo that's just so lovely and haunting, and a really nice way to wrap up. Anyway, the point I'm making is that it's a huge job, and in order to do it, I can't have to deal with all the other zillions of things in my life. I really have to try to focus, which is never that easy. Even under these lockdown circumstances, there's still life that you have to take care of. It did help that I didn't have to tour for this past year, and I was able to pretty much focus 8 months on the album itself. Okay. It's hard to do otherwise. At the same time, as daunting as it is, when I'm actually recording and writing and recording and doing tracks, I always feel really good about the results, or most of the time. And I think, oh, gee, I could do this for a living. But without, all the infrastructure and support that, the typical industry might lend, it just makes it a little overwhelming. If I could find a way, maybe it's just my bad time management. If I could find a way to manage my time, to do an album once a year, that'd be great fun. I just have yet to figure out how to do that and pay the bills, which I generally do by touring. which has been obviously a challenge these last 18 or so months. So, but I appreciate the question, and maybe I just need to, give myself a kick in the ass and fire up this studio on a more disciplined schedule than leaving it to the last minute. The truth of the matter is, Tom, when I run out of money, I launch a new album campaign, and then when everybody sends me money, I feel enormous guilt because I've already taken their cash, and now that's the motivation I use to do the album. So it's just a little indie artist confession here. That main motivation is sheer guilt at having asked you good folks to have faith and confidence that I'm actually going to do what I say. But that makes it even more satisfying that I got the job done, and now I just got to do all the other the fine tuning. Look at all these cats. I see a lot of critters. That's Kim and Tom and Artie down there with Ann.
Yes.
It's nice to see all the critters.
Tom, you rock.
And
rescue.
So anyway, but I appreciate the question, Tom, and
we get excited. We get excited.
I know I should do it. I shouldn't leave so much time between, and I'll maybe figure out a way. It may involve doing fewer dates overseas. Now, I know I drive thousands of miles to cover all of the UK and Ireland. If I could just persuade enough of you good folks to drive just, maybe 100 miles to see me, I could play less gigs in bigger venues, make more money in less time, and that would give me more time to do an album. But these are just logistics. It's just logistics. So that's my best answer to that question. And any other soul-searching queries?
Dean, you mentioned a radio show you just did, and you think some folks here today came for the first time because they'd heard this radio show. But did you do a survey to find out where they came from?
I should have, and I neglected to. And I'll have to keep that in mind at some point. But that's probably good market research.
Well, see, once we discovered you could do polls here on Zoom, I went crazy for them. I did polls after every show just to find out, I don't know, anything you wanted to know about people. But what was this radio show that you just talked about?
There's a local independent radio station in New Jersey called WFMU, which I believe may be the oldest freeform radio station in the United States. And I did a little interview that aired yesterday. And I say that because, there seemed to be a lot of requests for stuff from the first album, which would have been better known in the United States than in the UK, where the second album is better known. So I just surmised it from that, but I could have been wrong. It could just have coincidence.
Did you know you got featured on Johnny Walker's Sounds of the 70s? I think it was last week, or it was the day of your birthday. So...
I know, he played Lucky Stars on my birthday.
Yeah. That brought them all in.
Well, that was nice of him. He
played a bit of interview. There was an interview clip with you.
Oh, he must have. Yeah, it's something we had done a few years back that he aired. I always appreciate the airplay. And I think for a song on Radio 2, I think you get 20 quid. I think, or maybe 10 quid.
That really beats Spotify, doesn't it?
It does, but that's because it's like the #1 national
much more rare
station. Yeah, as opposed to 0.001 thousandths of a penny on Spotify or YouTube, which is really inane.
Yeah, how much? We were discussing this at a party just this afternoon, and we had a garden party with some friends, and the question of how much somebody got for like 1 million plays on Spotify. Do you know how much that is?
$250.
Right. If that.
Yeah,
Crazy.
It's all, look, don't get me started. The whole thing's insane.
Well,
There's
it's
no
obvious
equity
that
to
you
it.
can do 2 full produced albums for a record company and end up owing them money if it doesn't sell enough because of the money they invested in you.
It will happen to me. Sure.
You know.
It's just.
Yeah, actually, that's a cool big point, isn't it? Because you, back in the day, and we always think of the day as being great, you sold albums and got money, but actually you were screwed over back then, so people are just screwed over in a different way now.
Oh, absolutely. Nothing's changed. It's just there's a new cast of characters that are screwing the artists. It used to be just the record labels. Now it's the big streaming companies.
So what happened with
and
the first album?
The big device manufacturers like Apple. Pardon me?
So what happened with your first album then? Because it sounds like you're locked in some kind of copyright thing with it still, are you?
It's a strange story. I'll try to make it really short. U.S. copyright, there was a new update of the copyright law that acknowledged that all the deals for songwriters and publishers were unfair because there was no way a young up-and-coming songwriter, a new artist in the business, had any way to value the long-term worth of their copyrights, nor did they have any leverage to negotiate decent rates for those copyrights. So basically, it was an acknowledgement that all publishing and record deals were screwing the artist and saying, all right, listen, we're not going to fix it, but we'll say after 35 years, if you do this and 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 this, then you'll get your copyrights back, but just in the United States. So the threshold date for doing that was any album after January 1st, 1978. Albums before January 1st, 1978, instead of reverting after 35 years, would revert after 55 years. So what that means is that my second album, Well Listen to the Rocking Chair, which came out in 78, reverted back to me in 2013. My first album, which precedes that January 1st date, 1978, won't revert back to me until 2033. So I'm just counting the days.
And you actually have to inform the holder that you intend to claim reversion.
Oh yeah, they don't make it easy. You still have to do a song and dance.
I was actually reading up on this stuff because of you.
All right, well, again, it's just, it's the slimmest of phony ways to redress an awful situation. It's better than nothing, but it still doesn't really do justice to artists. And it's just another example of, the industry taking undue advantage and scooping up all the money. But
well, it's only got to Rumple Romeo. Presumably, you own the copyright yourself. Then, from then onwards, have you?
Yes. What happened is, by the time I did Rumple Romeo, I was able to negotiate reversion rights back from CBS Records, which did revert back to me, and I was able to put it out independently. And subsequent albums, I retained the rights to. So
CBS Records actually held copyright to Rumpled Romeo before it came out on Record Co-op?
It was released on Epic in the UK. And then they dropped it when McDonald's Girl was banned.
Right.
By the BBC.
Because the first time I ever saw Rumpled Romeo, it had a yellow label that said Record Co-op. I've never seen an Epic copy
Yeah,
of it.
somewhere out there, it's the same cover, but just a different frame and a different printing. Anyway, forgive me, I know this stuff gets really arcane and boring.
No, I think it's interesting.
Now, at this point, I think that the original epic Rumpled Romeo would have huge collector value to someone who had it.
It could be. They're out there somewhere. But you know, look, what can I say? If all those stupid business things hadn't happened, I never would have been walking with my dog Barker in Riverside Park and met my lovely wife Allison and her dog Jessie. And I wouldn't have these two great kids and
dogs are the best.
This strange life that I have.
Things work out.
Which I am grateful for. But stupidly, and this is probably really dumb on my part, but stupidly, in the back of my head, I always think, you know what? These songs are still really good, and the new stuff I'm doing is at least as good as the stuff that had commercial success.
Absolutely.
I mean, I feel like the new album is my best, and I know people are fond of all the early stuff, but keep in mind that's because you've heard it thousands of times over and over and over again, ingrained in your brain cells. So it always is going to sound good and familiar. Yeah, you know what? It really does come down to money and marketing dollars. If anyone out there wins the lottery and wants to do a joint venture, because realistically, labels spend, 50, 100, 250,000, £500,000 to market and launch a new album, to take out ads. To
Yeah,
do
but
tour
then I'll
support.
get the copyrights for 35 years. Oh.
Right, exactly, yeah. So it costs money to market and to do all the things necessary to get playlisted on national stations in the United States as well as in the UK. The one small advantage I have is that I do have some name recognition, and I do have a warm reception in some parts of the media universe. Example, Johnny Walker, playing a little clip on my birthday. But those things are sort of isolated, incidental events. What's required is, coordinated, synchronized, strategy on all fronts. And also, the reality is that the music business these days is really the music video business. Very little breaks on the charts that it doesn't include a music video, even a poorly produced music video.
Oh, God.
But then again, I mean, that would be my hope if I had the resources, is to do a documentary music video version of American Lullaby, of all the tracks on the album, all 12 of them, because I think they would lend itself to it. And I think as a whole, it tells a story that is still really relevant, that we're still living through. Just throwing it out there for any aspiring videographers or entrepreneurs. But in any case, because I'm a stubborn son of a bitch, I persist in just sort of doing the things that I care deeply about. Just the fact that you folks are sitting and help make this show possible and the album possible makes the difference, because this album would not exist otherwise. Definitely no way I would have just recorded it on my own. Well, I see it's getting late. Any other last questions before I sign off and wish you all the best and a good week and month and year?
Can I ask one quick question, Dean?
Sure.
Dean, can I ask, it's just an imaginary, light-hearted question. Sometimes you see clips on YouTube where a performer introduces a guest from the Wings, and the guest joins in with one of the performer's songs. Have you ever daydreamed about who you'd like to introduce from the Wings? Because I was thinking about this the other day, and I imagine you doing like the opening chords to Rocking Chair and then you say, ladies and gentlemen, Paul McCartney, and then he steps out, and the two of you are there on stage doing rocking chair. When you're sort of daydreaming, who would you like to bring out from the wings? It can be anybody.
I think Macca would do a pretty good job. I'm not sure he could hit all those high notes anymore, but
Oh, he doesn't.
Barbara Streisand on Lucky Stars.
Oh, that would work.
Yes,
just like butter.
fabulous.
Just like
butter. Yeah, you're right. You know what? That's all fun stuff. And who knows? We're all still young. Anything could happen. So I will ask all of you this one last thing, is that when you do get your hands on American Lullaby, please share it with your friends. In fact, order extra copies for all your friends. There's no better way to get the word out. Thank you, Hudson's. I appreciate that. So listen, I'm going to sign off and say goodbye. I want to thank the Sox and their roommate Kev F for helping out, and also Mr. Birnbaum. And my earpiece, which just said battery low. And everybody, anyway, it's really cool to see you all. Thanks for coming. Be well, and I'll see you soon. All right.
Thanks a lot,
Take care.
Dean.
Bye,
Dean.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
He's still in. Kevin, are you still around?
Yeah, it looks like I've frozen, doesn't it? But I was just holding the pose so that when Dean killed us, we'd look cool.
I want to tell you a story before you leave.
Yeah, cool. Hi.
From 30 years
Far away.
ago, okay? I had a girlfriend in the 80s who used to drag me and her other boyfriend to Dean's concerts in the Greenwich Village area, right? And then toward the late 80s, Dean stopped doing these shows. It was like 3 or 4 years, and I couldn't find him anywhere. And one year in 1992, that's 30 years ago now, right? I get somehow chosen to be the chairperson of a large local regional science fiction convention. And the chairman has to run the thing with a whole big staff. We had like 100 people on staff and different departments and stuff. But theming the convention is often up to the chairman. And the one thing I wanted to do was a music event. And the first person I thought of was this guy I hadn't seen in 4 years. So I picked up his album and I called the number and actually spoke to Dean and said, how much would it cost to book you to do a performance at my science fiction convention that was in Rybrook, New York, which is about 50 miles away from Peekskill anyway. It was like local for him.
Right.
And we negotiated some ridiculous amount of money because I had a big budget. I mean, theoretically big budget. It was whether I would want him just by himself or with a band. I said, well, why don't you get the band? So for my $2,500 of convention money, right? He gets his band together, 3 guys and stuff. And we're in rehearsals. All of a sudden, he's done 4 more shows in the New York area that I went to see.
Oh, fantastic.
Right?
So you kickstarted that.
So I kind of like to think in the back of my head that I re-kickstarted, because this was before Treehouse Journals came out.
Right, yeah.
This might even be, he had a demo tape for Songs for Grown-Ups. I don't think Songs for Grown-Ups came out until the mid-90s. So, and this is what he had already done, Rumpled Romeo, as I said before. I'd seen it on a yellow label as an independent. I'd never seen this epic version that CBS owned. So I thought it was an independent album.
Well, yeah, this is 10 years after Rumpled Romeo.
Yeah, this is like 92. And my convention was in 94. And sadly, we had a snowstorm that night, and I got texts from about 5 different people who couldn't make it on Friday night of the concert because of the snow. They eventually got to the con and had the rest of the weekend. And Dean stayed. And Dean stayed at the con because we had a science fiction connection for him, because at the time he was doing the virtual reality kids programs and the Honklets and Eat a Bug and all that other stuff. And he did 4 or 5 program items and got invited to the next year's convention for that. Right? And you can ask him about this. I'm not making this up.
This is magic. This is so good.
And I like to think that I rekindled the interest to get him back to do Songs for Grown-Ups as a completely finished album, to get Treehouse Journals out, you know, all of that, because that's that time frame. And then just for fun, when they elected me chairman again in 2003, I had him do a concert, just him, for about half the rate. But Hannah came by and played saxophone on a couple of songs. And this is my recollection of that.
That is so good.
So I'm just wondering if we wouldn't have had like Submarine Races and 12 songs and this upcoming album, if he hadn't had someone reprime his pump, you know?
Ladies and gentlemen, Paul. We have Paul to thank.
Yeah, it might be. I like to think so. And I like to think it was worth it.
Yeah. Oh, well, totally. Oh, completely. This is so good. Yeah, Dean is just so, because Dean's just a guy who doesn't have an overinflated sense of himself, despite his incredible qualities and incredible body of work. You know, you ask him and he is, like I'm doing this podcast, right, which is about comic books. Now, I know Dean and I have a childhood interest in comic books because he's reading Howard the Duck, my favorite comic book. He's reading that on the album cover, second album. And so I know when we can talk about comics, we can talk comics. And so I've asked him to appear on this comics podcast. And of course he said yes. He's busy. He can't do it this week. But when he can, he'll do it. This is so good.
Sure. I was a DC fan. I was a Batman fan before like Tim Burton's movie. You know, 1972.
Really? Oh, way back in the 70s, because in the 70s it was all Marvel for me, and I know Dean was reading, obviously, stuff like that.
For me, it was marketing. You see, Marvel Comics was soap opera back then, where you had to buy the book, and then you had to buy next month's book. DC Comics in the 70s had 2 words on the 22nd page in the last panel that didn't tend to show up in Marvel Comics, and that was the end. So if I couldn't buy the book the next month, I wasn't missing the continuing story. Now, granted, as the personnel shifted and Marv Wolfman went over to work for DC and they started doing the serialized stories, by that time I could afford to buy books every month. And I had shelves and shelves and shelves of the stories. I was like in issue 0 of the New Teen Titans. You know, when it was an insert.
Forgive us, guys. Did any of the rest of you ever read comic books, or have we really just gone down a rabbit hole?
Oh, I'm in a rabbit hole, but I'm willing to come out if they want to talk about something else.
Used to read Warlord.
Warlord. Or as we call these in Scotland, the Warlord. No, he doesn't mean Mike Gretsch's Warlord. There's a British comic called Warlord. It's a Scottish comic, in fact, called Warlord.
Different. Okay.
Yeah, it started about the same time. They both started about 1975, actually. It must have been one of those buzzwords. But yeah, Mike Gretsch's Warlord is about a guy who gets lost in a hidden jungle.
In the center of the earth, in Skitaris.
Yeah, hidden jungle in the center of the earth, that old thing. And the British Warlord was a bizarre phenomenon. We had a lot of comic books in the 1970s, which were about the Second World War. And they'd also include strips which would be about the First World War, but whatever, they'd be about war. It's kind of like Sergeant Rock. Sorry, what was that, John?
Battle and Warlord.
Battle was one publisher and Warlord was the other publisher. Both British publishers did these.
Yeah.
Things. And there's a really big strip called Charlie's War, set in the First World War. It wins awards over here now. And that was in Battle, the British one.
Yeah, I was never a war comic fan. I was like a superhero fan. I like Legion of Superheroes and Batman.
Because I was a superhero comic book fan over here in the UK as well. But I actually know the one guy in school who also, in my year, who also read Marvel superhero comics. And we're still friends now 40 years later because it was so niche a thing to be fans of. And the Hudsons, both of you comic book fans?
No, just me.
Just
Oh.
him.
Yeah. By the way, if you read Warlord, you stopped being a Warlord fan after about 5 years. It didn't really last that long, did it?
No, I ended up selling the lot for about 100 quid when we moved to France.
Hey, that's not bad. Getting anything for old British comics is quite an
Right.
achievement.
We had an old Ottoman that was full, so it wasn't too bad. And then I went back to reading the Dandy and the Beano.
Which, of course, I draw for the Beano.
I see.
Yeah, here you go. There's I've got one in the studio beside me here. This is a Beano book. This is one of the ones with a story in by me, and just to prove it's me, there you go. My name, Kev F, appears down there.
Oh, somebody signed it for you.
Yeah, it's a
I
magic
like
comic
the
because look,
Kev, I like
you,
the
you
dog.
can you can see my background through the.
Yeah, it's a hole.
How can that be?
It's your
Kev, I
chroma
like
key
the
color.
dog.
Hang on, Jane speaking. Are you Jane speaking?
I like Dennis the Menace's dog.
Nasher.
Rough.
Nasher the dog.
Hey,
He was always
Nasher
my favourite. His face.
Paul, you're talking about Hank Ketcham's Dennis the Menace.
Oh, good God.
And again, we're talking about the British one. There's a British everything, okay? Except the difference with the British Dennis the Menace is it was created simultaneously with Hank Ketcham's US Dennis the Menace, 1951. They both appeared, and neither was aware of the other whatsoever.
Wow. All because the name's right.
Because there was
Dennis
a popular
Menace.
song called Dennis the Menace from Venice. And it was a popular song and it appeared in movies. It's from 1947, 48 or something. There you go. See the mugs that the Hudsons are holding up? That's Dennis the Menace and his dog Nasher. There's now a cartoon. So they now call it Dennis and Nasher because it goes international. And so they couldn't use Dennis the Menace to sell it in international territories. But in the comic book, Dennis the Menace is still his name. Yeah.
There you go, Dennis and Nasher.
Dennis and
Oh,
Nasher.
you got it.
And Nasher. Oh, Dennis and Nasher. I used to like Dennis's jumper. He used to wear a little stripy jumper.
Oh, yeah, red and black stripes. Yeah. Iconic. Yeah, it's a British icon. It's one of those big things. Paul, there's so many of these things that are so incredibly familiar to everybody in this country. And it's like if you took to someone from Belgium who would know about their Eurovision songs and comic books. It's the country next door. No idea what he's talking about.
Right.
It's the same with us in the Beano comic.
And yes,
All right. Thanks to someone who's a science fiction fantasy writer here who has just gotten into writing comic books, liking it. My girlfriend made me watch the Eurovision Song Contest movie that just got released.
Oh, yeah, with Will Ferrell. Yeah.
With Will Ferrell. No, I hate Will Ferrell, and I hated everything about this movie screamed Will Ferrell at me.
Yeah. Well, because you know his wife's Icelandic, I think. She's from some Scandinavian country. And so he spent a lot of time over here. He spends a lot of time in the UK too.
Right.
And so he's seen this Eurovision Song Contest. The first time anyone sees it, you'd be like, what? But then when you get into it, especially if you like watch it with a household, watch it with a family,
right.
It's a weird phenomenon. It's been going on for 65 years in most of these countries in Europe. And it now is shown in 30 countries in Europe and shown in countries that aren't even allowed to take part. It's shown on, well, originally it was gay cable networks in the States. Australia has had it. It was a big gay thing. And it's a big international pride thing. And so Australia, which is, not in Europe, they actually take part. It was such a big deal in Australia that they let them join this Eurovision Song Contest. Madness.
Well,
Kev, did you see this year's contest?
Yes, loved it.
Did you see it? You know the Icelandic group?
Yeah.
The entry for Iceland.
Yeah.
That guy that actually leads that group, he's actually doing gigs in Europe and the UK, and all of his UK gigs have already sold out. They went in minutes.
Yeah, they would do.
People wanted to go to his gigs, and I thought they had a quirky little group and they had a fun song. And I like them better. I like them better than Italy. But
they've got great
amazing.
crossover appeal because I mean they were fashionable. They were popular. They were cool. Kids
Yeah.
like them. The cool kids like them, and that
Yeah.
makes a big live audience.
Yeah.
Oh
But I
God.
can't believe that his gigs in London have already sold out. You can't get a ticket for love nor money for the guy from Iceland.
Yeah, to be fair, everybody boasting about selling out a gig right now, you've only sold a third of your tickets because of social distancing.
Right.
I know.
Right.
I'm selling out my shows, and everyone's going to be sat 6 feet apart. So it's going to be weird.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's bedtime here. I don't know what time it is where you are. Well, I know, Paul, it's middle of the
5:30
afternoon.
here and probably later there.
Yeah. I was just going to say, sorry, I've got to go now, but I'll keep an eye on what Dean's up to now and go from there. It's nice.
Nice to meet everyone.
Sorry?
Very nice.
It was nice to hear that someone said to Dean to try and release something on vinyl, because I've got the only stuff I've got at Dean's is actually on vinyl. So anyway, it would be nice.
We had a conversation about it. He's pricing it up, but it's pretty expensive. You would be paying quite a premium, and until he can get like tens of thousands of people bringing the cost down on his vinyl. But hope springs eternal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe you should just release the sleeve.
Okay, guys, I'm going to sign out, and I'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Good night, Good night, guys.
Bye. Thank you.